All your negative emotions result from internal sabotage. That's the premise of Stanford professor Shirzad Shamin's book called Positive Intelligence. Our positive intelligence measures how our minds serve us and identifies 10 patterns, mental processes, intended to assist you that can easily become unhelpful if they get out of control. He calls them your achiever, avoider, controller, judge, pleaser, stickler, rational, restless, victim, and vigilant. They're like the 7 dwarves of misery and self-deception, except there's 10 of them, they live inside your mind, and you cannot get rid of them with princes nor poisoned apples. It helps to think of them like hunger. Hunger is an indicator you need food. Without hunger in your life, you wouldn't live a very long one, but hunger must be balanced to be helpful. If you were never hungry, you would starve yourself to death. And if you were always hungry, you would eat yourself to death. Likewise, your mental processes can go from savior to saboteur if they're taken to extremes. So in the interest of our mental health, let's go over them together and see if you can spot them in your mind. You may be a hyperachiever if you have to be the best at what you do. Self-love, self-confidence, and self-acceptance are entirely conditional, dependent on the next thing you achieve. You may be an avoider if you avoid conflict at all costs and say yes to things that you don't want. You seek external peace and harmony at the cost of your internal peace of mind. You may be a controller if you have to take control of things and people. You've been called intimidating, pushy, confrontational. To you, these are all just synonyms for leadership. You might be a pleaser if you have a strong desire to be liked and have trouble expressing your own wants. You consistently put the needs of other people well above your own, right up until you snap. And eventually, you always snap. Sound like anyone you know? You might be a stickler if you're highly critical of everything. You're seldom truly satisfied because you've only ever known one standard, and its name is perfection. You may be hyper-rational if you dismiss feelings as distracting and unimportant. You like neat and tidy logic. You love skepticism and debate, and you hate messy, icky, gross emotions. You may be restless if you're scattered and are easily distracted. Squirrel. You seek excitement and variety because you want to do it all, yet often lack the patience for any one thing. You might be a victim if you've grown attached to suffering and hardship. And if you've ever caught yourself saying something like, "Woe is me. Terrible, awful things are always happening to poor old me." You might be hypervigilant if your anxiety could count as cardiovascular exercise. You've turned self-doubt into a second job because your life is full of danger. And if you don't keep an eye out for it, then who will? This brings us to the judge. There is no you may be about the judge, because it's the one saboteur we are all guaranteed to have. Your judge concerns itself with 3 small things: what's wrong with you, what's wrong with others, and what's wrong with circumstance. Do any of these futtermuckers sound familiar? Are you ready to evict them from your mind? Sadly, you can't eliminate your saboteurs. They're literally built into your brain. But you can minimize their power when you label them, confront their lies, and tune into the present moment. You label when you notice yourself demanding perfection, putting other people first, or being overly self-critical. And you say, pleaser, stickler, judge. Labeling creates distance. You are not your saboteurs. You're simply their observer. Be ready to confront their lies. Once cornered, your judge might say something like, "You need me. Without me, you'll never be successful. You say, wrong. I am much more motivated by purpose and joy than I am by fear and criticism. Then take time to hyper-focus on one of your senses. Feel the ridges of your fingertips, the texture of your clothes, or the temperature of a hot stove. Conscious touch quiets your critics and activates your more positive self. Saboteurs are just outdated ways that your brain uses to protect you. They now create the same pain they were meant to prevent. They represent the automatic ways you think, feel, and respond. The key word is automatic. So if you happen to observe an anxious voice, demanding voice, critical voice, then call it out. Label the saboteur, confront its lies, and step into the present moment. Achiever, avoider, controller, judge, pleaser, stickler, rational, restless, victim, and vigilant. Whew, that sucked. But we'll do another one. Achiever, avoider, controller, judge, pleaser, stickler, rational, restless, victim, and vigilant. Sound like anyone you know?